Australia's hidden monopoly. Wait. Is this the video my housemate asked me if I watched? I think my housemate was like, hey, did you watch the new Cold Fusion video? And I was like, I don't know who the fuck that is. What is this? What is this? I sincerely hope Cold Fusion doesn't get firebombed over this. Ooh, that's one that I feel like a lot of people aren't going to recognize. There's a popular politics YouTuber in Australia called Friendly Geordies. He went after, I believe it was the gambling industry, and went after some politicians that were very involved in the gambling industry, and just so happened to get firebombed. So, I don't know. I don't know, man. What a coincidence. What an interesting coincidence. Anyway, Australia's monopoly is hidden in plain sight by Cold Fusion. Let's check it out.
How much did you make in the last financial year, Mr. Banducci?
Senator, that's available in our annual report.
I'm simply asking you the question, Mr. Banducci. How much did you make in the last?
Well, like literally firebombed? Yes. Literally fire. Let me show you. Do you have a picture of the house? He did farm it for YouTube content, though. Which I respect. I do respect farming your house being burnt down. I think he farmed it for like 3 or 4 videos. And you know what? Look, if your house is gonna get burned down, fucking just... You might as well get some content out of it.
Senator, as I said, it's available in our annual report.
I know it's available in your annual report, Mr. Banducci.
I'd farm it for years. I would as well.
In front of a Senate committee, how much you made in the last financial year. I mean, what's your reluctance to disclose that?
Senator, my base salary at Woolworths is $2.6 million.
Oh, it's the Woolly CEO. Ah, okay. Let me. I don't know if it's probably going to go into it. Let me just give you a bit of background. So in Australia, we have 2 major supermarkets, Woolworths and Coles. They basically have a duopoly. Everywhere you go, Woolworths and Coles. I don't know how many stores they have. Woolworths stores in Australia. How many? 995 main stores, 90 metro stores, but they also own a bunch of other stores as well. So the Woolworths group owns like, what is under the Woolworths group banner? I actually don't know. Our brands. Let's see. Oh yeah, they have insurance as well. Big W, which is basically Target. They have a pet food store, some Whole Food stuff. I thought they had more under their banner. Okay, Coles I know has a shitload under their banner. Yeah. AA epilepsy. Apologies for that.
And then I get a...
Oh yeah, sorry, but as I was saying, we also have smaller supermarkets. We have Foodland, which it sort of stems out of IGA, which is a whole nother thing. And recently, in like the past 5 or 10 years, Aldi started coming into Australia. Some entire shopping centres in New South Wales, Sydney especially, are all Wesfarmers owned. Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all. Not even remotely.
Short-term bonus and a long-term bonus, depending on our
Do we need the epilepsy filter?
I just talked about on top of that.
And what did that add up to?
Can we like disable the epilepsy filter, please?
As you would see in our annual report, it is, I think it is $8.4 million in total, Senator.
Hi, Welcome to another episode of Cold Fusion. That was Woolworths' outgoing CEO being grilled in Parliament about whether Australians are paying too much at the grocery checkout. For anyone outside the country, Woolworths is one of Australia's two supermarket giants. Along with its rival Coles, the pair dominate what Australians eat, drink, and pay at the register. On the surface, it looks like an ordinary corporate inquiry, but it's a symptom of something deeper. Australia...
I believe what was the inquiry? I think the inquiry was about price raises post-COVID. I think that's what it was. I don't remember though, because there's been a lot of issues, whether it be not paying people, whether it be like seemingly working with your competitor to like price fix. Lots of fun things. Lots of fun things when you have no competition. And this is why it's a good thing that Aldi's here and why we have Foodland. Because without them, there would be zero competition here. The little local stores just can't compete.
Has quietly become one of the most monopolized economies in the developed world. And when you live here like I do, you can look around and see it. Two supermarkets control nearly
Minecraft?
When you live here like I do,
Minecraft!
You can look around and see it. Two supermarkets control nearly 2/3 of all grocery sales.
Woo!
Two airlines handle over 90% of domestic flights. 4 banks hold the savings of most Australians. One media empire dominates the national conversation. And telecommunications has long been ruled by Telstra, a former state monopoly.
Yeah, well, now communication actually is owned by a state monopoly because it's the NBN, which is a government and Telstra-run network service. So, yes, it still is a monopoly. It's just changed hands a little bit.
But it doesn't stop there. As you'll see, some of these corporations use their economic weight to shape the political process. They lobby governments, pressure regulators, and work behind the scenes to keep the system tilted in their favor. Mining companies have gone head-to-head with governments and won. Now, the question is, how did a wealthy modern country...
So, there's a fun thing with the mining companies here, where a lot of them are like 5 years behind in paying their taxes. What are you going to do about it? I think it's like 40% of our exports, 30% of our exports are like oil and gas. Oil, mineral and gas. Like, what are you going to do about it? You can't force them to do shit. They control they control everything.
End up like this. And what does it mean for the future
That's
of
probably
ordinary
higher than that,
Australians?
actually.
You are watching Cold Fusion TV.
Ooh. Big country, yeah, very big.
Money buys influence,
Look
and
at our fake
influence
money.
protects money, which buys more influence. Once that cycle takes hold, it can shape entire markets and, at the extreme end, entire countries. Now, just for definition's sake, Australia is actually full of duopolies and oligopolies, rather than strict monopolies.
Sure, if you want to be pedantic,
The former
sure.
is when 2 companies or a few companies dominate an industry. The result is the same though, concentrated power in the hands of a few companies. In the UK, the largest supermarket holds less than 30% of the market, with others close behind. Whereas in Australia, Coles and Woolworths together control more than 65%.
I didn't know Aldi was at 9% now. What the fuck is Metcash? What is that? Metcash. It's a wholesaler. Do they have stores in my state? I guess maybe it's like a... It's probably... Yeah, okay, they sell to businesses. Okay, that makes sense then. Samsung controls South Korea. Yeah, well part of that is also just like South Koreans love Samsung. So yeah, does Australia have Costco? We do in recent years. How many Costco stores do we have? Costco, how many Australia stores. I would say probably the past 5 years we started getting stores. We have 15. 15 stores in Australia for Costco. This is also, like... Yeah, I think there's one here. Yeah, I think it's, like, usually one per state. Do they have any? None in Northern Territory, and 2 over in WA. Like, this is one of those cases where having supermarkets from other companies come into Australia is an insanely good thing. We need someone to disrupt this market. Zero and Tassie. Tassie's not real. What do you mean?
Airlines show a similar pattern. In the US and Europe, budget carriers thrive on short, busy routes and constantly chip away at the larger airlines. In Australia, it's different. Long distances push up costs, airports charge higher fees, landing slots are limited, and loyalty schemes keep passengers tied to big carriers. It's no surprise then that Qantas and Virgin carry 94% of all domestic travellers.
Whoa!
So how did it get this way?
I didn't know it was that much.
Well, part of the answer lies in geography. It's not what you'd think, but hear me out. Australia is huge, roughly the same size as the continental United States, but only about 27 million people live
no
here.
one lives here.
The vast majority cluster in a few coastal cities, separated by long
Did you just forget about South Australia? What about... Wait. People live in South Australia and Northern Territory and Tasmania. Did you just forget about them? What is this graph? What is this diagram?
stretches of empty land, desert. This makes distribution costly and leaves fewer customers in each market. Economists call this a thin market. One with so few buyers and sellers that competition is weak and prices are easier to control.
Down,
Now,
the
compare that with
prices
the
are
United
down.
States, where more than 340 million people share one integrated economy. Giants like Walmart and Kroger are huge, but they still face plenty of regional rivals. This doesn't really exist in Australia. So yes, geography and dwelling demographics explain part of the picture, but not all of it. Other countries with similar challenges, like Canada, have been more willing to break up companies to keep competition alive. But Australia has chosen another path. They've got a problem, so they fan the flames. The lay of the land set the stage for corporate concentration, but political choices made it much worse.
Cereal and Woolies, $9 per box.
Corporate power
Now, that's
doesn't
cheap.
always shout. Sometimes it's quiet, buried in policy papers or whispered in back rooms. Other times, though, it's a relentless ad campaign on TV. One of the most dramatic examples came in 2010.
I'd give you a second to grab some water. Much better. Now I can breathe. Tasmania doesn't exist. Next minute. Hey, Northern or South Australia, Tasmania doesn't exist. Well, look, it exists when I want it to exist.
That year, there'd been a global boom in commodity prices. Being a resource exporting country, the Australian government decided to use some of this new massive wealth creation to pay back the public. Support for small businesses, tax cuts for businesses, retirement boosts, infrastructure spending, and that kind of thing. It's a pretty good idea, as using natural resource profits to help the nation is similar to what Norway does. So for Australia, in order to carry this out, they needed to tax the mining companies a bit more. And before you feel bad, some of these guys were making $14 billion a year, a 200% increase year on year. When the mining industry heard about the proposed reforms, they were furious. They set out to seek revenge on the government. A $25 million ad blitz was dropped from the heavens. TV screens were filled with warnings of the sky falling. If the government proposal goes through, jobs will vanish, investment will flee, and the economy will be ruined.
This is the same reason why nothing ever changes with our house prices, because so much of our retirement is tied up in house prices. Australia median, like the meta investment in Australia is owning a house. Like, it's not like owning a house is a thing that should, just be a good thing. It is like the meta way to invest, which causes a problem because then people invest in houses as the only way to invest. Here we go. So this is the median house prices per state and how much they go up annually. I guess per capital city. Sydney, 1.7 million, going up around 6% annually that year, at least that year. And that's usually, like, the house prices don't go down. They don't go down here. Yup. Regional, 700,000. In the middle of fucking nowhere, with the nearest town, nearest major town being who knows how long away.
The public was mortified.
Australia!
And meanwhile, mining industry lobbyists worked the corridors of government. Within months, the then Prime Minister, Kevin Rudd, went from a 70% approval rating in the polls to being thrown out of the government.
Yeah, that did happen.
And of course, the tax was scrapped. Internally, his party thought that his image had deteriorated so badly that he was a risk to them all. There was a...
Yeah, this is the problem with a lot of Australian politics. This is a problem with a lot of politics and just in general. People don't want to make hard decisions. There was no reason why they couldn't have just pushed that through and then just had rough times politically, but made things better. And this is a problem that we had with the GFC as well. This is why our house prices are so much worse than other places, because during the global financial crisis, we actually did pretty well. Because we just, we basically just kicked the can down the road, and now we're dealing with the GFC that everyone else dealt with, 15 years ago. Labour and Liberal have Minecraft sponsorships. Minecraft sponsorships.
A lot more political drama surrounding this incident, but let's not get into that.
Mm-hmm.
For many observers at the time, however, this was a benchmark case. Mm-hmm. It showed that when the stakes are high enough, corporations can shape policies, and more importantly, the direction of political leadership itself. For Australia, it's sad, because what politician would ever challenge the mining companies for the benefit of the average Australian again as boldly? So if you think that's nuts, it's just a taste of the wildness here. Australia turns into an absolute clown show when you look at our banking system. The dominance of 4 banks have sucked all the money out of the productive economy and thrown it into the housing market. A 2022 S&P Global estimate says that these banks have cornered 72% of the market, and newer estimates says 75%.
Woo!
It's an abnormally high concentration, and it's resulted in some absolute buffoonery within our economy. Because there's no competition, they all have the same business model that virtually does one thing: lend money to buy homes. In contrast, in many other countries, banks loan to a whole range of sectors: businesses, agricultural, and consumer sectors. Meanwhile, in Australia, 70% of those 4 banks' entire existence is to just finance buying homes.
Everything comes back to housing in Australia. And the problem is we don't have a land issue. So, places like New York City, for example. New York City have incredibly high house prices because they have a small land mass. We don't. We have a lot of land. We have an infrastructure issue. So in Australia, everything is centered around the capitals. Let me show you. I've shown this chart so many times before. I'll show it again. Australia population density map. This is an old chart by now, but it's still such a good chart. This is 15 years ago, but it's basically the same, maybe a little bit spread out. Just a tiny, tiny bit. So in Australia, everyone is sort of densely focused around the capitals. All of these red dots here are... okay, no one lives in Northern Territory. We can ignore that one. But everyone is densely focused around the capitals. That's because that's where all the work is. And because of that, even though we have all of this land that is entirely undeveloped, people don't even want to move out to, like, here because there's no jobs here. Because everyone is focused around these little dots. So the little dots get more and more expensive, and no one is building houses out in these undeveloped areas. Then we have the issue of, we don't tend, like, for a long time, we didn't build up. We built outwards. So we don't really have, outside of the capitals, we don't really have apartments. Like, there's a few apartments here and there, but even in the city, our apartment blocks are relatively small. So, yeah, we have an urban sprawl. Yeah. There is, like, in my state, I can't speak for other states, but in my state, we're now building a new CBD, a new, like, central business district that is outside of that area, so we can now expand out further. But this is going to take 10 plus years to fully build out.
All in lockstep. It's gotten so bad that it's twisted and distorted our entire economy. The end result is that the Australian economy is less complex than that of Botswana.
Australia ranks 105th on the Harvard Economic Complexity Index, behind countries like Botswana, Zambia, and Pakistan.
Wow.
That's something I learned about when I first arrived here, and it's always stuck with me. Before anyone starts yelling, "Hey, Seppo, go home," let me explain what it means and why it matters. The quasi-monopolization of big retail brands makes it even more difficult for smaller competitor brands to gain a foothold in the market.
Well, how inhabitable are those areas, though? I've heard the middle of Australia is pretty hostile. It's hostile because nothing's there. It's hostile because there's no infrastructure. If there was infrastructure out there, it wouldn't be a problem. But the problem is, it takes a long fucking time to build that infrastructure out. Like, this is going to be a 20-plus year project to be able to do that. And that's just making a little dent.
2 players dominate grocery and liquor. Likewise, 2 aviation firms rule the skies. In fact, Australia ranks as one of the world's most concentrated markets, with industry concentrating more than ever before. This drives up prices, stymies competition, and reduces innovation. Even worse is that these big players aren't going anywhere. Research by the OECD and Macquarie University found that between 2007 and 2021, monopolization led to as many as 6,300 fewer employing firms than Australia would have had otherwise.
Meanwhile, China keeps building entire cities every year like a Giga Chad. Do you know why that happened? Because there's no private industry in China. Private industry is owned by the government. It's not technically. But, like, there's this big tie between private industry and the government. So if the government says you're going to do something, you're going to go do it, right? That's just not really a thing here. And in most places in the world, not really a thing. For all the problems that the Chinese model has, when it comes to bringing people out of poverty, like, my understanding is China's done an insanely good job at that.
It's a lot of potential innovation and jobs lost thanks to Coles and Qantas. And it's dragging Australia down, worsening 6 positions on the Harvard Index in the last decade. Authors note, quote, Australia is less complex than expected for its income level. As a result, its economy is projected to grow at just 1% annually over the coming decade, ranking in the bottom half of countries globally. Australia has the capacity to lead, but it needs a deliberate strategy to improve innovation outcomes, wean itself off digging stuff out of the ground, and capitalize on the amazing brain power we know exists right across this great country. What's one change?
Well, this is one of the things with the NBN. Specifically on brain power. So I remember with the NBN when it was like first being rolled out, when it was going to be the fiber network, then it got turned into the copper, fiber to the node and then copper to the home, and then remade into a fiber network. Our goal back when it was first being rolled out was to compete with South Korea in the tech space. And then things changed hands, and it's like, oh, well, that's too expensive to build out this system, and oh, blah, 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 blah. It's going to take too long. And then by the end, it's like, it takes twice as long and it costs twice as much because we just, like, scrapped the idea of doing it properly from the beginning.
You think would be most beneficial to improve Australia's innovation performance?
Due to this crowding into only providing home loans, the Australian housing market is now worth $12 trillion. For a country of this size, it makes no sense.
Again, another thing with the housing, like I said, the reason why our housing is so cooked, amongst other things, is housing is the meta investment strategy. The government is not incentivized to lower house prices because people's retirement is tied up in housing. Every retirement fund is tied up in housing. People have multiple houses. That's their retire. Like, it's such a mess. It is an absolute mess, and it's not going to be fixed anytime soon, really. You know what's bad when New Zealand has gigabit fiber and Australia's still on copper? We're mostly on fiber now. Mostly. There's still some areas that haven't. Mostly rural, though.
These banks are some of the most profitable on the planet by return on equity. Regulators like the RBA, our central bank, APRA, and the Productivity Commission have
PC?
repeatedly flagged that this is a systemic risk to the Australian economy. How? Well, this is where the circus really gets ready to start. Because gluttonous banks are so mortgage heavy, if there's an economic shock, like a sharp rise in unemployment, they're all
it's the American real estate bubble all over again, but this time so deeply rooted in the country's economy. See, this is what I was saying before. This is what I was saying about the GFC. We could have fixed this problem during the GFC. The reason why the US suffered a lot during that and did really badly is because they let the problem happen. They let the problem, like, go through the motions. We didn't want it to happen. We didn't want to, like, ruin the housing market. So we, like, pushed it on as far as possible. And now it's kind of getting to a breaking point. Like, housing is crazy here. Like, even just renting is crazy here.
all exposed to households not being able to pay back their loans. And that impact easily could be systemic. Thanks to no competition, these banks can take more risks, expect bailouts, give poor service, and even charge fees for doing nothing, as pointed out in a federal investigation from 2017 to 2019.
What would my interest rate be? 5.5%. That's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, sweet. Also, there is an application fee, $600, split loan fee, $600, mortgage service fee, $395, loan size increase fee, $300, fixed interest rate fee, $750, security guarantor fee, $200, settlement fee of $200, production of documents fee, $150, late payment fee, $20, offset fee, $10, early repayment of fixed rate fee, $50, discharge fee, $350.
Yep.
What? Those are the fees. Can I compare those with another bank? I'd rather you didn't. It's, you know, it's all just, it's, you like the interest rate. I do. It's a good interest rate. All right. Yeah.
So what is the country doing about this? Though many have flagged the problem, no single body is mandated to continually push for competition in banking. So no one does anything about it. Examples like these make the pattern clear. Once companies reach a certain scale, and leverage shapes the rules, and rules protect that size. And that's how the game goes. It's how the corporate power grows.
Yep.
A wave of privatisations in the 1980s and 90s would change the lives of everyday Australians for generations. The idea was to sell state assets to invite competition so that consumers could benefit from lower prices and better services. On paper, it made sense, but in reality, selling off critical infrastructure often just cemented the power of a few players. Telstra Communications is a classic example.
No, we're in the
Once
80s
a
right now.
government
NBN's a bit
monopoly, it was
newer.
sold with promises of efficiency. A decade later, Telstra still controls more than 70% of fixed-line services, with their main competitor, Optus, laughably far behind with around 11%. Optus isn't providing optimal service either. Recently, their system went down for maintenance and they didn't tell anyone. And this meant that 000 emergency calls couldn't go through.
Yeah, I happen to know not directly, but I know someone who knows one of the people that died during this. Yeah. Yeah. Their outage led to emergency services not working. That shouldn't be able to happen. That should not be possible. Unless the entirety of the country's communication network is down, that should not be possible.
And 3 people died as a result. In total, Australians are paying more for slower internet, and complaints are piling up. In the end, privatisation hadn't unleashed.
Let me find you. Let's Aussie broadband. Aussie broadband. Let's go with that. Are you going to dox me? Let's find out. Home. Internet. No, I don't want to enter an address. We good? Yeah, we should be good. Okay, so. Their cheapest plan. 12 by 1. That is $73 a month. For 12 by 1. 25 by 10 is $80. 50 by 20 is 93. 100 by 20 is 95. 500 by 50 is 95. 750 by 50 is 120. 1,000 by 100 is 130. And, 2,000 by 200 is $190. And we can't get faster uploads than this. If you ever need cheap housing and cheap internet, Latham isn't the best place. Latham? Where's that? Where is that? Oh, Latin America. Oh, sorry, I don't know your acronyms. I just moved to Thailand. I don't fucking know. I just need somewhere that has fast internet. That's my goal.
Competition. It locked in the old monopoly under a new name. Remember at the beginning of this episode those 2 grocery stores I talked about, Coles and Woolworths? Their grip on the supermarket industry has often led to some bizarre situations. In 2011, Coles triggered what became known as the $1 milk war by slashing its home brand milk to $1 a litre. Woolworths matched within.
Yup, and this cooked the farming industry. Eastern Europe seems to have really cheap internet, at least it did. Doesn't Germany have one of the fastest internet speeds? Isn't Germany also very expensive, though? So here's a fun one that I think a lot of you aren't going to know about. This was like a major thing in Australia.
Some bizarre situations. In 2011, Coles triggered what became known as the $1 milk war by slashing its home brand milk to $1 a litre. Woolworths matched within weeks. It sounded like a gift to shoppers, but behind the scenes, dairy farmers were being crushed, margins collapsed, and many farms closed. Once the damage was done, the prices were jacked up again. In essence, the supermarkets used their market dominance to destroy market competition and corner the dairy market, then controlling prices to however they saw fit. A Senate inquiry followed, but regulators said that the cuts technically didn't break the law. The damage, however, was real. And now, more than a decade later, the tactics are more subtle. Prices at Coles and Woolworths swing in carefully managed cycles. ABC News analysed more than 44,000
Sounds a lot like government cheese over in the US. Government cheese is such a fucking stupid thing. I love that story.
items and found that thousands of these products yo-yo between 2 or 3 set prices on a regular basis. A box of Cadbury favourites, for example, bounces between $22 and $11, depending on the week. Retail researchers...
Yeah, they run these very... As someone who works in a supermarket, I can tell you for a fact these things... This is not just a one-item thing. It's very obvious things bounce between prices.
Call it high-low pricing. For households, the yellow special labels feel like a bargain, but in reality, the discount is already built in.
It's just the normal
price. Shop at the wrong time, and you pay the inflated price.
Yep.
When the public started catching on to all of this, the CEO of Woolworths, Brad Banducci, wasn't having a good time.
A showdown in the Senate.
I'm Brad Banducci, and I'm the CEO of Woolworths.
Thanks, Mr.
After a quick defence of the supermarket's pricing structures, the drama begins with questions from the Commission's chair.
I remember a box of Cadbury Favorites was $20 at one point. Let me show you how much. Let me show you how much a 30-pack of Coke is. No, not AI mode. Let's go all. Oh wow, it's on special right now. Oh my god. It is literally the thing that we are talking about. I can do it like this so it doesn't dox me. Let me show you the price. Let me show you how much a fucking box of Coke is. 30 can... how much do you think 30 cans of Coke costs? What would be a reasonable price for 30 cans of Coke? Just like normal standard can size. Nothing too special. Is it Colombian Coke? No, that would justify the price. That would actually make it a pretty good deal. Actually, you know a fun thing? Drugs are like the only thing that actually consistently goes down in price. Why the fuck's it not loading? Load my folder, damn it! Oh my god. Why is it not loading? Why is it not fucking loading? Hello? Hello? Folder? Why is it doing this? What is this what is it doing? What is this? There we go. Okay. Here we go. So, you're saving $20. So, the non-discounted price, $50. $50 for a 30... No, it wasn't Australian internet. That was my system. $50 for 30 cans of Coke. Dying Drive? It's been doing that for, like, ever. And it's just that one folder. I don't know why that one folder does it. It might be PC Man FM generating thumbnails. Let me see. Coles, 30-pack of Coke. Shopping. Literally the same price. Coles is just not on special this week. So next week, Coles will be $30, and then Woolworths will be back to $50. That's usually how it goes. They just bounce back and forth, opposite each other's price.
About the company's measure of profitability.
Have not answered the question, Mr. Banducci. Honestly, I'm not interested in your spin or your...
It was a technical argument. McKim wanted to know...
How much Coke here is less than $20 at retail? Welcome to Australia.
What the returns for shareholders were, but Banducci wanted to point out that lenders take a cut too. And then came the threats.
I also feel compelled to advise you that a person may be found, as I've said, to be in contempt of the Senate and subject to a penalty.
Keep in mind, that is Australian dollars. So let me go 50 AUD to USD. So that would be 32 US dollars, just so we're on the same page. But still, it's a lot of money.
Up to 6 months imprisonment or a fine of not exceeding $5,000.
Rod Sims, the former head of the ACCC, says that we have one of the most concentrated supermarkets in the world. Is he lying?
It's not true.
It's not true.
Retired, by the way.
I don't think you would impugn his integrity and his understanding of competition law.
I love how you can just, like, show the graph and be like, that's not true. That's not true. What do you? No, nope, not true. Nope, nope, not real. Nope, nope, that'll happen.
I'm just saying the world has got much more competitive.
He retired 18 months ago. He's not.
Okay, can we take that out? Is that okay?
Oh yeah, he just like said something stupid, and he's like, "Yo, can you like cut this part of the interview?"
Months ago. He's not.
Okay, can we take that out? Is that okay? I mean, he is retired, but I shouldn't have said that, Angus. Are we going to leave it in there if we are?
Well, I mean, we're on the record. You said it. I mean, you know, let's move on. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think I'm done, guys. I do this with good intent. You know, I don't do this with bad intent.
You're walking out, really?
No. Can we just talk through Brad for a sec?
Let me just
have a minute.
Eventually,
Brodie, I do have an Android phone. Does Google Pay work at most payment processors? Yeah. I don't use Google Pay, but yes. I like to tap my card.
due to public pressure, he was kicked out of the job, and the new CEO wasn't faring much better.
Oh yeah, this is another good one.
Profiting of price gouging during the context of the cost of living crisis.
Thank you for reaching out to us. We're doing everything that we can to recognise that customers are doing it tough and make sure that they're able to get great prices and products.
I really don't.
Literally just read the corporate. That was the most corporate drone response I've ever heard.
We're doing cost of living crisis.
If you think CEOs can't be replaced with AI, you're literally watching someone who I'm convinced is a robot.
Thank you for reaching out to us. We're doing everything that we can to recognise that customers are doing it tough and make sure that they're able to get great prices and products.
I really don't believe that. Millions of people in Australia right now have to skip meals in order to survive so that you can continue to make big bucks while working class people suffer. Can you sleep at night knowing that?
I know that our team are doing everything that we can to support our customers. We understand that it is an incredibly difficult time right now.
We have lowered prices, and you'll see that right through our store.
We have lowered prices. What that means is they're currently running their like high-low specials. We lowered prices. Like, one thing they will often do is they will pick noteworthy items to lower the price of. It's like, oh, we're gonna lower the prices of tuna or like, I don't know, fucking cookies or something. And it's like, this specific item they lower the price on, but nothing else.
Great value for our customers, and that's a true.
These are all drones.
I don't believe that. Woolworths is actually being hauled to federal court for actual shams with the supposed discounts that are being promoted.
You're entitled.
I don't think working class people buy that and accept that.
For sharing your views, we appreciate it. We're doing everything that we can.
It's not views, it's like reality that like millions of Australians right now are struggling so tough, and you're the one behind price gouging and profiting off this.
It's actually illegal to videotape someone without their permission in New South Wales.
Well,
we don't appreciate.
I don't think.
Yeah, I'm sure this one is a moron. At least she knows. Just say nothing but the corporate answer. This one's an idiot. This one is a store... This is not like a corporate person. This is a store manager. This person, I don't know why they even let her speak.
I think it's right that ordinary people have to be starving and skipping meals so that your company's making uber profits.
We've
just
walked past Aldi.
Of food. That should be a human right.
Feedback on the team, talking to our team who are serving customers every day, doing the very best.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. And work.
Yeah, stop trying to deflect it onto the fucking workers. What are you doing? No one has a problem with the people that are stacking shelves or that are, you know, fucking working the registers. You're the issue. The worst part is this is not new. This was developed and field tested in America. Well, no, America has much less of a problem when it comes to at least supermarket monopolies. You have an internet monopoly. Like, your internet monopoly is a problem. I'll definitely give you that one.
Workers as well are actually suffering because of the profit.
Oligopoly, if you want to be pedantic, you can. Shame.
And this whole thing becomes kind of noticeable. Whenever I travel, I do notice that supermarkets have more choice, and it's clear that we're being ripped off. For example, Tim Tams, which are an Australian product, are cheaper in Dubai and England than Australia. There's no reason for that.
A product that is manufactured
in Dubai! In fucking Dubai! The gaslit, fake, just not real location that exists on slave labor and just hopes and dreams, where everyone who lives there is either a slave or a fucking millionaire. There is no in between. How Dubai, of all fucking places,
there's no reason for that.
a product that is manufactured in Western Sydney would cost more at a supermarket in Sydney than it would at a supermarket in London.
And really, there's no stopping these grocery prices.
Have the fucking grocery prices gone up again?
Yeah, brother.
No fucking way, bro.
No.
Prices
Look at
gone up
this, look at
again.
this. So this is just pretty normal orange juice. $9.50 for 2 liters of orange juice. This is like the nicer orange juice, but even so, $9.50 for orange juice.
No fucking way, bro.
No fucking way. This is just like chocolate eggs.
It's the size of my hand. Yeah, boys, we're cooked. We are cooked. Like, holy f***, look at this shit.
$11 for Kellogg's.
$11, $12. I thought that was it. $12.
Yep.
$11, $12. Oh yeah, let's go to the end of the aisle. 17.
Woo! $17 for a 12-pack of Up and Go. Fucking hell.
$18, $14. If you live in Australia, do not come to this aisle.
So what does all of this mean for ordinary Australians?
How do basic cannot afford eggs anymore? Yeah, well.
Of course, shoppers pay more at the checkout. When only a few companies dominate, there's no competition. And no competition means prices can rise as consumers don't have a choice. But it goes beyond that. Mining companies can destroy a prime minister. Flights stay expensive. And the banking system turns into an absolute clown show. During a cost of living crisis, Woolworths posted record profits. Qantas, despite widespread cancellations and scandals over flight credits, still recorded record earnings. The world keeps turning.
Aldi's not as bad at that. Yeah, Aldi is a great... I love Aldi. Not because it would be that bad if it was the only thing we had here, but the fact that they exist in a country and like sort of disrupt that market mean that if they want to disrupt the market, having the prices be lower is just naturally a way to get attention. The fuck you mean it's spelled Qantas and you read a U that's not there? Don't think about it. Do not think about it.
Rupert Murdoch's News Corp controls most of Australia's print circulation. For decades, its papers have campaigned hard on elections and regulation. Critics argue that this kind of dominance narrows the range of voices in media and leaves too much influence in the hands of a few. And the culmination of all of the above is starting to show. In 2007, 86% of Australians said that they were satisfied with democracy. By 2018, that had collapsed to 41%. A big reason is the belief that politicians serve corporate interests first before the public good. A Guardian/Essential poll in 2024 found that 75% of Australians believe that MPs enter politics for personal gain rather than public service. And that's the deeper cost of monopoly power. It isn't just groceries, flights, or phone bills. It's about trust. When citizens believe that the rules are written by corporations instead of people, democracy itself begins to look hollow. In recent years, there's been inquiries...
Sorry, we have to do it. We have to do it. I have to do it. I have to play the video. We have to side tangent. I love this video so fucking much.
Just a moment, you just assured me that I could speak.
Sit down inside the car. We're not assuring anything. We're under arrest.
Look, I'm under what?
Come on.
Gentlemen, this is Democracy Manifest. Have a look at the headlock here. See that chap over there? Get your hand off my penis! This is the bloke who got me on the penis before.
Get some cups.
Why did you do this to me?
Hop in the car. Get some cups.
For what reason? What is the charge? Eating a meal? A succulent Chinese meal? Oh, that's a nice headlock, sir. Oh, yes. I see that you know your judo well. Good one. And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off there.
No, we've only got one cup.
Ta-ta and farewell.
It's all right, just getting in the car.
One cup, look. They even broke.
Do you know the actual story that happened with this guy? Like why this happened? Basically, there was a wanted poster, and the cops looked at this guy and thought he looked like the guy on the poster. So they thought they were catching some like major criminal, and this guy created one of the greatest recordings of all time.
Into the influence of supermarkets, banks, and the airlines. The ACCC, Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, has pushed for more authority, yet reform has moved slowly. Since the 1970s, more than a dozen reviews of competition policy have come and gone, and when updates finally arrived in 2017, critics said that it was still a dog with no teeth. For example, the ACCC opposed ANZ's takeover of Suncorp Bank in 2023, but it was overturned in 2024. But there's a small bright spot. Disruption shows what's possible. Aldi's arrival forced Coles and Woolworths to cut their prices and rethink how they've treated suppliers. Costco has had a similar but smaller effect. When new competitors break in, even the giants are forced to adjust. But in the meantime, the only way Australia will improve is for Australians to understand and call out what's going on. And this is my attempt to do that. So you may have noticed that a lot of data and statistics was used in this video. Learning how to read data has been essential for me to understand the world around us. If you want to learn...
Oh no, even Australia can't escape Costco? No, we want Costco. Costco's good. I don't know what the go is in America. We need, like, Costco coming here is great. We need to disrupt what, like, the big companies are doing. If they can take, like, 20% of the market, that would be phenomenal. That would require Woolies and Coles to actually fucking do something then. Wait a few more years? That's fine. If they can disrupt the market and, like, break shit, good. We can deal with that problem then. Right now, we have a bigger problem. I'll leave the theoretical problems for the future. Let's deal with the problems that exist right now.
Data analysis, or simply just want to brush up on it. Our sponsor, Brilliant, is a great place to start. Brilliant is the best way to learn subjects like computer science, data analysis, and AI. But in a way that's interactive and hands-on. Brilliant gives you puzzles and step-by-step challenges where you learn by doing. It's proven to be 6 times more effective than watching lecture videos. Their courses cover everything from the fundamentals of neural networks and probability to the mathematics that underpins AI, and even everyday topics like algorithms and data security. And because all of their content is crafted by experts from places like Stanford, MIT, Caltech, Microsoft, Google, and more, you can trust that what you're learning is not just accurate, but also useful. Learn at your own pace, brush up on a project for work, or just for your own self-development. If you want to level up your skills for work or personal projects, I highly recommend checking it out. To get started for free, head to brilliant.org/coldfusion or scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description. Brilliant's also giving Cold Fusion viewers 20% off an annual premium subscription, which gives you unlimited daily access to everything on Brilliant.
Brilliant's
Thanks to
pretty cool.
Brilliant for supporting Cold
I like
Fusion.
Brilliant.
So thank you for watching, and if you do live in Australia, feel free to send this over to someone who would be interested.
Hi. I'm
Hello, everyone.
Australia.
Thanks so much for watching the whole way through this episode. It really means a lot. And hi, here I am if you haven't seen me before.
I've never seen this channel before. I've never seen this guy before.
Name's Gogo, and you've been watching Cold Fusion. And yeah, if you did like it, feel free to subscribe. Otherwise,
that was a good video. I like that. I always like the Australia videos. The Australia videos are always fun. Yeah, our country's cooked, basically. It can be uncooked. It just requires someone to actually you know, care to try and fix it. But, you know, that's we'll see how that goes. I don't have the highest of hopes. He made several videos about AI as well. Oh, it's Japan. I think we might be able to check out a short one. Depends on what we got in the list.